We're back, people, and today we're breaking down film on Jaylen Waddle. Miami Dolphins wide receiver had his best game of the season by far versus New England. Really nice to see him get involved. You know, Waddle is one of the easiest players to root for on the team, and I think the biggest thing is the Dolphins came out pretty heavy and targeted Jonnu Smith a lot early because the Patriots came out pretty zone heavy. But then they wanted to take away that quick stuff that the Dolphins were taking to Jonnu, so they started going a little more man-to-man cover one heavy. And Waddle got his one-on-ones, and that's like the big difference, I think. You know, with people talking about the wide receivers, their stats aren't as good. Teams are scheming to try to take them away. They're not getting the opportunities that a lot of the other receivers around the league get, at least on a snap-to-snap basis. So Waddle finally getting some one-on-ones, man-to-man. He can show how good he is. Like, he is still a very, very good receiver in this league. I also thought he was just playing super hard in this game with a lot of toughness. Like, he was running through contact, fighting for extra yards every snap, just playing with the extra, juice out there. So it was nice, see that out of Waddle. I know what he's capable of. I know him and Tyreek are still some of the better receivers in the league. Tyreek's still a top 5 guy. Waddle's still like a top 15-ish guy. It's just opportunity is like the biggest thing, and they're out there, they're buying in, even if they're not getting targets. Like, they're still making an impact on the field. This was my favorite rep from Waddle on the day. Is just the one-on-one on a third down versus Christian Gonzalez. Gonzalez is a very good player, like one of the better corners in the league, and Waddle just absolutely cooks him off the line, creates separation. I actually think Waddle's probably been the best separator on the team this year. I think statistically he has the most separation, at least when it comes to like man-to-man. It's just he hasn't gotten that many options. Here in the slot, one-on-one against Gonzalez, just look at the split release. You give yourself a two-way go. You split with both legs, you square him up, and then you stab with one foot. He stabs with that left foot and then gets that inside release very fast. And he's just so sudden. He's able to get that path very quickly and then break to the inside, cross face, just create natural separation. And all it took was one little quick move off the line, and then he makes a tough catch. I think, he still has had some drops this season problem. That's kind of always been probably the biggest negative of his game is, I think, at the catch point. But he made tough catches throughout this game. He also does like the unnecessary jumping from time to time, but was very, very good throughout this game, doing a lot of tough stuff. I love seeing him get one-on-one. Dolphins have very rarely faced cover one since Tua's returned, but Patriots decided to run it a few times. This is one of the few times you're going to see cover one and Tyreek's one-on-one that Tua is not going to take the Tyreek one, just because Gonzalez plays it really well. So he goes back to the slot fade, finds Waddle, who was absolutely cooking 25 Marcus Jones the whole time. Love seeing Waddle adjust, like, on a back shoulder. I feel like Waddle's actually always been pretty good in these scenarios, adjusting to make these catches that are on, the back shoulder side, either drawing a penalty or making the catch. Here he's able to, make this catch, go over the top. He's got a good vertical. He explodes up to catch it, makes the nice adjustment late, too. That's always, I think, been a solid strength of Waddle's game. I feel like he comes down with these types of catches more often than, maybe some basic catches. So I love seeing that. If the Dolphins face cover one, this is the type of thing that they're going to be able to do more so like they were doing last season. It's just they're not getting it as much. They're getting cover two. So they're just taking easy pitch and catches to players like Jonnu, Achane, taking free yards on first and second down. And that's kind of like the biggest difference maker. And then Waddle, just look how explosive he is here, man. Like, you just can't teach this stuff. Like, this is a no-look pass from Tua, which is insane. Like, Waddle even said he was thrown off by, Tua with the no-look. This is the seam rail slide RPO. Dolphins love to run this. He's the seam threat. He shows good just understanding of what the offense is trying to do, what the defense is giving him. He just snaps his head around and sits in the soft spot. Him and Tua have always done a good job of being on the same page. They missed on one of these plays last week, being slightly off. And he makes this adjustment. Him and Tua on the same page. He catches the ball, gets put inside. So now look at him, this shift of momentum away from this safety. And the fact that he's able to, explode upfield, accelerate past this guy, and then still bend it back to the outside to get away from him without really losing any speed is so impressive. You should be able to bend it back this angle without losing speed. There's very few players in the NFL that can do that, and Waddle shows that special athleticism and then fight some contact balance play strength to finish into the end zone, which I thought he ran very tough throughout the game. You can see it from this angle too. Tua clearly no looking to throw this ball to get 16 out of the way. And then this is a tough throw because this is something I think Tua, in the past is sometimes he does these passes where he moves this guy, but he doesn't realize he's also kind of moving this guy into the throwing lane. But he does it just well enough to get it over both of them. He was hitting some throwing lane. That's one that could potentially be maybe intercepted in the future, but works out perfectly in that scenario. Just great ball placement, great job from Waddle, them being on the same page. And he was just cooking man coverage, cooking 25, Marcus Jones. This time on the outside, just a quick slant, split release. Dolphins only run like 3 releases. It's very rare you see like any crazy releases from the Dolphins, because it's everything's about timing, so they don't try to do too much. The only time you see like Waddle really work, because Waddle can have some crazy releases, and there's examples of it from college, earlier in his career, and then like every once in a while when he's like the second or third read, he takes a little bit extra time. But even then, he doesn't need it always. It's just split release, you square him up, you give yourself, when you do this, you split release, you give yourself a 2-way go, and the corner kind of has to respect each way, because when your feet are like this, it's hard for, them to read you. You're not giving them that body language, and he shifts, boom, gets to the inside, breaks across his face, catches the ball in stride, and then look, he gets contact made with him about at the 32, and then carries that guy forward down to the 24. So an extra 8 yards after the contact. That's something I think Waddle was doing an extra better job of in this game. Working through contact. Waddle's one of the few receivers, honestly, one of the only receivers you're going to see even really attempt this very often. Waddle's one of the only guys doing this on a consistent basis. Nearly every week he has a rep where like he either inside releases on a hard outbreaking route or outside releases on an in-breaking route and still wins the rep. People don't do this. Even Tyreek doesn't attempt this as often. He can do it, but it's not something he attempts. Waddle does it all the time. He's taking on a deep out route an inside release because this guy has outside leverage, and he just takes that inside release, works through contact, he fights through it, strains, he gets the call. I think they call it either holding or pass interference here, and then also makes a tough catch. I know it was a chance it might have hit the ground, but they still ruled it a catch on the field, so it ended up standing, but it makes a tough catch, working through contact, and it's just the inside release on an outbreaker. This is very uncommon around the league. Like, you just don't see people attempting that, and if they do, it very rarely gets completed either. So that's always a fun to watch part of Waddle's game, because there's at least 10 reps that come to mind of me seeing Waddle doing something similar to that. And then also like this stuff, the timing, like glance, bang 8 routes where he, they get zone coverage, they get cover, looks like cover 2, so to this side he's got the flat corner. Just get to your spot, don't waste any time in your route, get exactly where you need to be, him and 2 on the same page. He does do the unnecessary sort of jumping. The ball is maybe a little, he didn't really need to jump. It's something he does need to work on, for sure. I think it's just a part of his game at this point. But even though he does jump, usually if guys jump here, that limits your yak opportunity. I think it sometimes hurts Waddle's yak. The fact that he still does it, jumps, still able to get back on his feet and then get upfield and pick up extra yards, make a guy miss, is pretty impressive. So definitely like to see that. Waddle fighting through contact again. This time he actually does get knocked off his route a decent amount, but this is like a linebacker who does a good job. But Waddle knocked off his route, but still able to, get where he needs to be with Tua and make another nice catch on third down, protect himself. Look at his vertical, man. He explodes up to get that ball and then shields himself from the big hit. Also protects the ball from being knocked out by tucking it quickly. Just being on the same page with Tua, even though he gets knocked off, sticking with the play, and Waddle, just basically everything you needed in this game. This one was a weird one, this spacing. I feel like because Mostert's also working outside, I don't know if maybe there's a wrong route here, but Waddle gets one-on-one with Gonzalez, and if Mostert wasn't working to the exact same area, Tua probably could have hit Waddle for a touchdown, because say Mostert was working to the inside or upfield, Waddle knocked Gonzalez off balance and would have had outside to the end zone, but Tua couldn't throw that because this defender's like right in the way. He also still gets open on like a scramble drill, but Tua was already throwing the ball to Tyreek. So just another example of him getting open in man-to-man coverage versus Gonzalez. It's just something, I think maybe the wrong play was either being ran or there's the timing and spacing of it was off. But he definitely got physical with him. Hard break at the line. That's hard to do and knock that guy off balance. Gonzalez is a very, very good player for them. Probably their best player on that team. Has been this season. I think another big thing for Waddle is something he's been doing every game is he's been blocking. Dolphins receivers have been blocking. They're a pretty small group, but they're out there and going willingness. And this is on Duggar, who's like a safety linebacker hybrid. He's able to get that crack on him, seal him long enough, stay with it, get hands on, allows Wright to get to the edge and not allow Duggar to get upfield. So love seeing Waddle do that type of thing too. Another thing, something he's developed as the years have gone on. He's become a better and better blocker. Here he gets a screen, doesn't get too much going. I think Odell kind of whiffs his block. Maybe potentially could have got to the outside. I think the biggest thing is just how I just wanted to show with this play. is how hard Waddle's running. He wasn't going down at first contact. Like, he was going to, if the other defenders didn't come from the Patriots, I think he was going to carry this guy, the New England corner, for like another 3 yards. But then the other guys sort of get there. But he was fighting for extra contact, still fought forward, gaining an extra 2 yards from the contact. I like how tough and hard he was playing throughout the game. And he was just super excited. You could tell he loved being involved. I think the big thing is, sometimes when you have like these first round pick wide receivers, I love when they want to get the ball. You want that, but then sometimes it can be a distraction when they like people, complain they're not getting the ball. They're like, we need it, but I have no problem complaining maybe when you're losing and not getting the ball because you feel like you make a difference. But now that they're winning and you're maybe don't have to do as much, I love that he's been just about the team. So him getting a big game, I feel like is just, definitely just happy for him because Waddle's a good guy, always working hard, never complaining, and definitely goes out there and gets the job done. So excited to see how this kind of plays out. The Green Bay game will be weird. I'm not sure. It's gonna be cold, but I'm not exactly how what the winds are. Maybe if there's snow or rain or anything, that would be tough with the passing game. Dolphins gonna have to run, but they've struggled running, so the passing game's gonna have to show up again. Will be the Dolphins, I think, toughest game of the season up to this point, and most important. So it'll be very, very important to see how it plays out. Got to be at least competitive with them. If you're competitive, keep it close. Give yourself at least a chance at the end of the game. So if you guys are the new, just like comment and subscribe.